This has to be the best wilderness retreat ever. Everyone has a fishing net and enjoys grilled fish daily. Some even brought their girlfriends for the adventure, spending their days just thinking about fooling around. It's already the 6th day. Rashi woke up early and said he slept well last night. The weather here is quite dry and they have a great shelter. He began working on the shelter on his 2nd day there, and Emil joined him halfway through. Together, they made their own wooden beds inside. They even constructed a stone fireplace inside. This shelter is probably the best one so far. It blocks wind and rain, keeping them warm. Emil loves it and they just want to relax and enjoy it now. However, Casper felt very cold last night. After all, sleeping in a tent on the ground isn't exactly comfortable. His feet were sticking out while Victor stayed buried in his sleeping bag, refusing to get up. People really are as different as night and day. Rashi's planning to add a chimney to the shelter. They cut an opening at the back and used stone slabs to make a smoke vent. Adding a chimney to the shelter is crucial. It allows them to burn wood in winter, staying warm without inhaling smoke. Today, Casper plans to take Victor to set up the fishing nets. Drawing from their first successful catch, Casper shared some fishing tips with Victor. Essentially, he said, "The water's freezing and I'm not going in. You have to take one for the team." Victor might be but he's no fool. He tied the fishing net's rope to a stone, but no matter how many times he threw it, it wouldn't go across. Throwing that stone seemed harder than losing face. Finally, with Casper's help, he got the fishing line across. Meanwhile, Danny decided to start fishing today. After all, it's been 6 days, and they must be hungry. They've been building the shelter these past few days. Seeing Danny's small knife left me speechless. Using a fruit knife to cut wood? Even a fool wouldn't do that. Only a wood. They finally managed to build the shelter. But they left a window of wisdom at the top. I still can't understand how these two ancient humans came up with that idea. Danny opted to go fishing today. Catching fish isn't the main goal. They have to kiss the fish. They praised the fish king all over the water. Their technique mirrors Victor's, as it's the only way to catch more fish. Setting up the net is tough. They took forever setting it up, but Danny's team only pulled in 2 tiny fish. Victor's spot has gentler waves, so fingers crossed for fish tomorrow. Camilla, our little workhorse, is just getting started. She feels the trees calling her, and every time she sees one, she wants to chop it down. Anyone who's chopped a lot knows this urge. Trees and people have spirits. Every time Camilla cuts down a tree, she has to pay her respects. Today, she and Martha plan to build a shelter. They're picking which trees to cut. Might as well choose the handsome one. Rashid finally rebuilt the stone fireplace. It looks great, but when they lit a fire, smoke poured out the door. The whole shelter was like a smokehouse. A wasted day. The chimney still spews smoke. Every time they go in, they have to hold their breath or they'll suffocate. What's up with this? Is it a success or a failure? They're planning to redesign the chimney. Camilla and Martha are watching a rainbow. It really is beautiful. Victor and his brother are doing nothing. They haven't even built a shelter. Danny and Rick are already eating fish. They made a pot of fish soup. After 6 days and 54 missed meals, they finally have something to eat. It's the 7th day. Anna woke up early to check the fish nets, hoping to catch something. Yesterday, Bjorn came up with a method. The net is in the middle, and they don't plan to reel it in every time. Instead, they use the method to check the net, which can also pull it into deeper water. Danny's starting to reel in his net, hoping to catch some fish. The net isn't even fully up yet. Danny sees fish, but they all seem small. Size doesn't matter. What matters is having fish to eat. Anna didn't catch any fish. Really disappointing. But their fishing device did catch one fish. What luck! Victor and his brother are finally starting to build a shelter. Sleeping in tents every night is freezing. But these two chubby guys have poor stamina. Every time they move a log, they need a half-hour break. Progress is slow, but it's better than doing nothing. Anna's also starting to build a shelter, but her pace is so slow that even Bjorn can't stand it. He brought his girlfriend to experience life, but they might break up. Thought Anna was dumb for using a fruit knife to chop trees. Didn't expect Casper to do the same. I knew this wouldn't be simple. Where there's Wulong, there must be Fengchu. Danny and Rick plan to find a new fishing spot. The old spot only has small fish. They spend ages casting nets daily, but only catch a few tiny fish. It feels like they're just getting leftovers. Rick puts some wood in the water to keep his shoes dry. It doesn't matter if you get it or not. Danny's too scared to try it herself. She's afraid that this guy in front of her might hit her, even though it's not illegal. But as Rick's girlfriend, if she doesn't help him, no one else will. In the end, she tells Rick there's lots of food at home. They decide on a riverbank net like Jesper's group uses. They tie stones to the fishing net and throw it across. This idea was actually Danny's. Rick, being Danny's boyfriend, is not only strong but also eager to learn. Meanwhile, Lashy and Emil are preparing to build a chimney. Though they made a stone smoke vent yesterday, it didn't work well. They gathered lots of wood. They place the wood at the smoke vent. Is this a chimney or a shelter for the chimney? I can't tell. Lassie and Emil sensed something was wrong. They debated chimney construction and finally chose stones. Victor and Jesper spent the whole day on the shelter's framework but didn't finish. They just stared at the wooden sticks, clueless about the next step. If it takes them this long to figure out the shelter, their survival skills might be lacking. Winning the marriage prize would be tough for them. Emil went to the river to gather stones, because their chimney had issues. Lassie was arranging the fireplace inside, which could double as an oven. The fireplace grew taller, resembling a pyramid. They lit the fire again, hoping to fix the smoke issue. The fire burned inside the shelter, but no smoke came out of the chimney. Obviously, it still wasn't working. No matter what they did with the chimney, the smoke problem persisted. On the 8th day, Danny and the others woke up early to cook breakfast. Even though it was just hot water and berries, it tasted pretty good. Their shelter doesn't have a fireplace right now. Why isn't there any smoke? The shelter is very warm. Rick, like a big building, lay in Danny's arms. Jesper and Victor got the shelter's frame done. They just need to add the waterproof cover now. But the top still needs work. While fixing it, the tough guy slipped and turned into a little princess. Luckily, Jesper caught Victor, otherwise, Victor wouldn't be a little princess but a fallen soldier. Rick is prepping to clean the shelter while Danny lounges inside. She sure treats her boyfriend like a workhorse. Danny believes that only by resting well can she help Rick, so her resting is equivalent to working. Martha and Camilla are getting ready to search for edible plants. They aim to find vegetarian food, not fish. Lassie headed to the beach for firewood and stumbled upon a bamboo pole. It could have been a great fishing rod, but it snapped in the middle. Lassie patched it up with some tape, then made a loop from a waterproof cloth to create a line holder. Soon, he had a fishing rod ready. Lassie couldn't wait to try it out. Anna and Ben also went to check the fish nets. They came up empty-handed yesterday and hoped to catch something today, but no luck again. They've been fishless for 8 days now. Clearly, a new approach is needed, so they relocated the nets to deeper waters. Fingers crossed for better luck this time. Victor and Jesper are moving today. They're exhausted and really need a warm place to sleep. They're putting up a seaside villa, perfect for fishing. But when they arrived, the shelter's skirt was flapping in the wind. Why not use branches to weigh it down? The pigs might freeze at night. Lassie enjoyed blueberry tea in the shelter. Even if they can't catch fish, there are lots of blueberries to eat. Do all foreign meadows have blueberries? The stove smoke is venting better now. The heated stones can warm them at night, but they have cracks. If they're not careful, the shelter might catch fire. They should fill the gaps with mud. It's day 9 now. Vasha and Camilla, those two crazies, were acting up in the shelter early in the morning. If they're so happy, they should go take a bath. They haven't bathed in ages and they reek. Danny woke up early, crying because she felt guilty for rejecting so many of Rick's ideas. The reason is she doesn't want Rick to get hurt. Staying in the shelter is the safest. This woman has a peculiar way of thinking. I bet she's some kind of martial arts whiz, really holding Rick back. Meanwhile, Camilla's busy upgrading the shelter. They're planning to cover the roof with branches to keep the rain out, but it seems like a huge task. Still, there's nothing else to do, so they might as well stay busy. Improving the shelter is beneficial for them too, but with such a big opening, won't it be cold at night? Apart from the big job of building the shelter, daily fishing is also time-consuming. Luckily, they all have fishing nets. Thanks to the fishing nets, they can almost eat fish every day. Today, they seem to have had a big catch. The fish aren't very big, but they can eat their fill. Jesper's group worked hard all day and can finally grill fish tonight. On day 10, Rashi's team chose to upgrade the fireplace. They built a giant fireplace outside the shelter where everyone else was working. Danny and Rick can't stop hugging and kissing. I'm at a loss for words. Danny and Rick have done nothing but have sex all day. While everyone else is eating fish, these two are always hungry. Fish or no fish, as long as they can kiss, they're happy. They did use branches to improve the shelter, which helps keep it warm. Oh my gosh, they're at it again, kissing non-stop. Meanwhile, Rashi's team finished the fireplace and gathered berries for tea. I've never seen such a big stone fireplace before. Martha also completed the shelter's roof and added a waterproof layer. These girls are really skilled. The shelter is coming together fast, looking just like a proper wilderness camp. On day 11, Casper woke up grumbling about the cold last night, likely due to the strong wind. The shelter's not well insulated, so they want to add a fireplace inside to keep it warmer at night. They may not know much, but their fireplace looks decent. Meanwhile, Danny and Rick plan to build 2 wooden beds today. This way, they can avoid sleeping on the ground. Meanwhile, Jesper's group is upgrading their fireplace using branches to build a chimney. In the short term, it might work, but a chimney made of branches definitely won't hold up. What surprises will they bring us next? Don't miss the next video update.